So I will start my demo of this program called Otology-Neurotology Database, ONDB, by presenting specifically the first area of this program, which is defined by you can see here, this line, surgery results. This means that that will be the place where you're gonna go to study your results. But you can see there are different lines. This one, list of patients, of course, is the way to have access to your patient file. All patients are stored there. New patient is when you want to enter a new patient, of course. Search is the searching tool. You can enter any name of patient to find or number of file to find the patient and to open up the file, the corresponding file. The control panel is the very interesting place where you can change a lot of things and create new pop-ups, as you will see later on. Data modification is an interesting place. In case of you make any mistake, for example, by introducing wrong prosthesis when you enter a patient and then you discover later on that you entered a wrong prosthesis and you want to change that, everything you've saved in the program is already saved and you cannot change anything except if you want to click on a specific area, and then you can change by entering your password, and this will go to this area. This is interesting in case of audit, and you can show that you made some change later on, but not too much. It will be interesting to see that. ONDB preferences, that's an interesting place where you can change many things, including the choice of frequencies, for example, that you want to use for patient, or any other item as I will show you. Then I will explain so later on users file and template document. So let's first start by a demo of how to use the results and how to study the results. So I'm going to click on that, and then I will select by pathology, and then I'm going to select otosclerosis. The first part of this demo will be to show my results, some of my results in the case of otosclerosis primary surgery. So I will click on otosclerosis, and then you get a new window in which you can see several things. So here we have selected otosclerosis, but this includes revision and primary. The total number here on the left is 7,000, more than 7,000 cases of operated years. But you have some information also about the age. So you get the mean age, which is 48.6, minimum age and maximum age. And but of course you can change that. For example, if I want to, as I will show you later, if I want to study my results only for pediatric case, I will remove 91 and enter 18 instead of 91. So you can select any things there. Here on the left, you also have two boxes which are really interesting. This box is only when you want to study the post-op results, which means patients with any available post-operative data. And this is the follow-up default, which might be interesting if you want to understand why some patient has not didn't come to see you post-op, or if you are waiting for the first hearing results after 3 months. Here you can see we have different boxes. These are related to the frequencies which are used for the calculation of hearing outcomes. So at the moment you can see 4 boxes are already selected, 0.5, 1, 2 and 4 kHz. This means that the program now is using these 4 frequencies to get the post-op hearing outcomes, but might be interesting, for example, study only the 4 kHz. So in that case I will deselect these boxes, the 0.5, 1 and 2 kHz, and in that case if I click to new choice of frequencies, then the program will use only the 4 kHz. That might be interesting, specifically if you want to study, for example, the incidence of sensorineural hearing loss on the high frequencies. But let's go back with these 4 frequencies. So I will reselect those 4 boxes. Now here in the middle, on the right, we have the hearing outcomes, but it's only the pre-op at the moment, the airborne gap mainly, with the mean airborne gap, pre-op, 25.8 dB, but also the airborne gap within 10 dB, 10 to 20 dB, 30 and more than 30 dB. At the moment it's only digital, but if you want to get the percentage, then you click to percentage there and then you get a percentage. But I prefer to use digital ones, so numerical. There we go. So now in the middle of that, you can see that we have different tabs. Each tab can be studied separately, as you can see. But let's go for the tab 1, which is stage. And at the moment, I just want to study this line, primary surgery, and not the revision. So I just have to click on primary surgery, and the program will select only otosclerosis, and you see primary surgery here. So it's already been selected by the program. So we are now studying only the primary surgery. Now let's just have a short visit of each tab. The tab number 2 is called the clinical tab. These are the items that I've already entered when I'm entering a patient. And I can create any new line in each tab, and also any new tab if you want. I'll show you that later. Each line can be studied separately, so we have several groups. One group is called special, for example, because I want to create a line for far advanced otosclerosis. So if I click to this line, the program will select only these 108 cases. So each line can be studied separately. Same for the type of tympanic membrane if I want to study it in case of retraction. The tab number 3 is called the surgery one. So these are items related to surgical technique and surgical presentation. For example, type of otosclerosis is interesting. We have case of obliterative otosclerosis. We all know that, of course, the results are not the same in case of obliterative otosclerosis. So you can select this line and then you study specifically this case of obliterative case. Also in case of associated pathology, in case of malus incus ankylosis, this line can be selected separately. And you also have different lines that can be used. Now, if I click to the number 4, osteoculoplasty, this also might be interesting, specifically if you want to study the type of prosthesis which was used, a different type of prosthesis. If you want to study a new prosthesis, then you have to enter a new name of prosthesis, and I will show you that later on in the program. Also, the position of a prosthesis is interesting in case of malus to stapedectomy or stapedotomy procedure, then you can click on this line. And at the moment, the post-op, I don't want to click on that because first we need to click on with, pre, and post-op audio. So I will click on that. So now the program is going to select the pre and post-op audio. But let's go back to stage of surgery. And we have now 5,400 more post-op hearing results in case of otosclerosis primary surgery. So here we have new tabs, new parts of the screen. First of all, on the left, now you have the follow-up screen which is appearing. This shows you the follow-up of the study. Minimum one is 0.8 here in this case, and maximum is more than 300 months. But of course, you can again change that. If you want to study results at 1 year, then I will remove 0.8 and I will put 9, for example. And here I will remove 337 and I will put 18, for example. This could be defined as 1 year. And this will be interesting. Then the program will select, by clicking on follow-up, only the hearing results at 1 year. Here on the right, now we have the hearing outcomes, airborne gap within different dB, and then the mean airborne gap, pre and post-op. But we also have now the bone conduction, the mean pre-op and post-op air and bone conduction. Now let's go and see other things. So I just want to show you how to study result with age, for example. So here on the left you see minimum 8 and maximum 8, 82.5. So I will change that and I want to study my results on pediatric case. So I will remove 80, 82.5 and I will enter 18 and then click on age. So here in this case we have 44 cases. So the program is already selecting only the pediatric case. Then it's interesting because you can go for, you can want to study different items. For example, you can try to study by clicking on surgery, the surgical presentation. So that would be interesting to study the incidence of obliterative otosclerosis in case of pediatric patient compared to the entire series. Same for the malus incus ankylosis and things like this in this line. So if I click on obliterative, then we have 9 cases, and I got the pre and post-op for this 9 cases of obliterative case in children series. Now I'm going to refresh and go back to, again, pathology and otosclerosis, and then primary. So we go back to the same tab, and I will click on primary. There we go. So we have 6,000 more cases. I click on pre and post-op again, and now we've got the results for the entire series, as I showed you before. What I want to show now is how to use the follow-up screen, how to select a different follow-up. So I will click again on primary surgery, because I want to study my primary case. So 6,000, more than 6,000 cases. And I click again on brief pre and post-op audio. Now we have the hearing outcomes. And this is the follow-up area. So I want to study my results at 1 year, according to the American Academy guidelines, for example. So let's say that I will define my 1 year follow-up by minimum 9 months, maximum 18 months, but this is a personal view. You can do whatever you want. So I will put 9 here, and then I will put 18 on the right. Then I click to follow-up. And now you see the program is going to find the available data at 1 year. Time, it's pretty fast. So we have now 2,660 cases with available data at 1 year, and you can see you have the post-op hearing results here, including the air-bone gap, bone conduction, and air conduction. So that's clearly interesting. This is a second line that can be used if you want to select a cohort of patient, but I will show you that later. Now, I'm interested by studying my complications. So if I click to post-op tab, I have access to the list of post-operative information, and specifically the complications, but the aspect of ossiculoplasty, for example, extrusion, dislocation, etc., or tympanic membrane, or other things. Let's say that I want to study my sensorineural hearing loss. So I will click on this line, 16 cases, again at 1 year. And I want to have access to this patient. So I click to this line, list of selected case, and then you will see that I will have access to the list of patients there. These are the different patients. They all have sensorineural hearing loss. These are patients with 1 year follow-up. Of course, if you do for the entire series, I will get more than this. So you can open up any patient file like this. For example, I'm going to choose the first one. And this is what I call the patient file. This is the first file. So we have patient information, name, first name, file number, and date of birth. And on the left here, you have the pathology file and the audiometric file. So you can see this patient has been operated in 2014, 2019 on the right here. So let's go and open up the primary surgery left here, which is the pathology file. So you can see again that you can find the same tabs that were shown in the results section. Same thing with the clinical item, surgery, ossiculoplasty, etc. So it's interesting because that's the case where we have sensorineural hearing loss. For example, if I close this pathology file, you can see I select the left ear by underlying this line, and then I will click on pre-op. And this is the pre-op hearing threshold before of this patient, or before surgery. You can see large air-bone gap on the left ear, and also on the right ear. I operated the left ear first, so let's see what happened at 3 months. So this is underlined again, and this is the first hearing outcomes at 3 months. And you can see this is the case where I had this sensorineural hearing loss, definitely. So you can see here sensorineural hearing loss, and ossiculoplasty was stable, and well, you can see new information is coming up just below the hearing, the audiometric diagram. So we have information about the clinical things like sensory hearing loss, aspect of osteoplasty. So in that case, that was stable, but unfortunately, there was a sensory hearing loss. And the same thing if I look at this in 2019, you can see that we still have on this left ear sensory hearing loss, but the right ear was operated with good results, fortunately. So that's the same. If I want to study this case, right here, again, pre-op, you open up the audiometry file. And you can see all is saved. As I said, for example, if I open up this right here, pathology file of the right here, any line cannot be changed. But that's interesting because if you made a mistake by choosing the wrong prosthesis when you entered by mistake a patient, you can change this. Let's say, for example, use a TORP in this case, you have to change that. You cannot do it here. You have to click on this button, and then, but I demonstrate that later on. Now I'm going to show you how to export data. So to Excel file first, and then from the Excel file to any other type of program for statistical study. So again, I will select the pathology, otosclerosis, and primary. And I will decrease the number because it will be a really big number here. So I will go to, for example, surgery. And I'm going to try to study the case of malleus incus ankylosis. So let's go there. Associated pathology here. We have malleus incus ankylosis. So I will click on that. We have 28 cases. But I want to be absolutely accurate, and I don't want to put any bias. So I don't want to get this obliterative case, which might create some bias. So I want to remove this line and study only malleus ankylosis. So I will click on this box, remove, and then select obliterative here, and then the program will remove this 3 case. So now we have 25 cases of malleus incus ankylosis with no obliterative. So let's go and check about the prosthesis itself. So I click to osteoplasty. We have TORPs and malleus to stay below me on all cases. So that's fine. Now if I go back to surgery, I also have this associated surgical technique. As you know, I introduced different new techniques, just like stylistic bending for osteoplasty and malleus relocation. So it might be interesting, for example, to study, to compare my results between with and without malleus relocation. So of these 25 cases of malleus ankylosis, I've done malleus relocation only in 14 cases, so I can click on this line, and then in that case I will select these 14 cases, and then I will export, and then I can do the same and deselecting malleus relocation. So for example, let's click on malleus relocation. So I'll go to this point, and then I will click to export data. So we will have now with pre and post-op audio, of course. So we have the post-op now, and I'm going now to export data, clicking to export data, choose automatic TXT file to Excel import, and this will export this line here, and this will be used in Excel, but this will be demonstrated separately. You can see here we have 4 files which I use for preparing some publications, and this is a way to store your data once you have exported them to Excel. But this needs to be prepared in Excel, but that again will be demonstrated separately. So that was the first part of a demo talking about otosclerosis primary surgery. I hope you enjoyed it. We will go separately for another demo now with revision otosclerosis, and then I will show you how to use it for osteoplasty another time, and then other parts will be demonstrated how to use the program, if you want to change things, if you want to enter a new patient, how to enter audiometry, etc., etc. But this will be made separately in different parts. So thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll be ready for you for the next part with otosclerosis revision. Thank you.